All right, greetings everybody. Welcome to part 2 of making three-string cigar box guitars at once. All right, so if you haven't seen the first part, go and watch the first part before you watch this video because this is the conclusion. So if you remember in the first part of the video, I cut off these trenches or these notches, both on here and on the headstock. I cut these pieces off. So these pieces now I'm going to use as shims. So I got 3 of them that I rescued from the scrap bin, and I also have 3 of the top sections. Here they are. So these are like the parts that I cut off for the headstock, and these are the parts that I cut off for the notch part that goes in the body. Okay, so you follow that? So I'm saving these little pieces for shims. All right, this neck is ready for final sanding. But what I need to do next here is, so I went ahead and cut out the notch for the box. And now I'm going to get ready to mount this guy in here. But what I need to do is I need to determine how many shims to put underneath here. So let me show you a cool trick. All right, the nice thing about this method is that you don't need to measure anything, right? You just got all these little shims. Right? Every one of them is a different thickness. And all I do here is I just put the neck in the box, right, in the slot without the shim. And then I close the box. And then I can wiggle the neck up and down and it'll hit on the inside here. So when I go up, there's a gap here because it's up here. But then when I go down, it's hitting the top of the box on the inside, right? That means that there's a gap on the bottom of this. So what I want to do is I kind of open it up and take a look there and see, okay, it probably needs about maybe this thickness and this thickness. And again, I'm just kind of guessing. Now I'm going to close it up again and I'm going to do the wiggle trick. Oh, that was perfect. Look at that. There is no wiggle at all. Let's say I didn't get it exactly right. Let's say I was getting close and I only had 1 in here. Right, and I wiggled it and I can see I still got about, and you can kind of see, you can kind of get a feel about how much it's wiggling in it by looking at this thing here. So you can say, all right, so yeah, I got lucky with that one. This one here is the exact right thickness. And there is no wiggle, right? It's snug as a bug in a rug right there. So that's how, I'm just gonna glue them in now. All right, I have 2 shims here, thicker on the back, 2 shims here up on the front. Pre-drilled, and then I just double check everything, make sure everything's nice and tight and it fits perfectly. It's all tight up here, there are no gaps, and I could screw this in if I wanted to, but before I do that, first I need to drill the hole. Alright, so I determined I wanted my input jack on this side right here. But the problem is, look how thick that wood is. It's a 1/4 of an inch thick. So what I did is I got the Fosner bit and made sure I was in the exact right spot I needed to be. And then just drilled it out to about 1/8 of an inch deep, right? That's 1/2 of a 1/4 here. And so you can kind of see right there. Now that's how I'm going to mount the input jack and get the threads to be able to tighten up. Tapping in the frets. Now for the fun part, grinding down the edges of the frets. Make sure you have safety goggles. All right, do a dry fit before you button everything up. So I have the piezo, and then the wires all ready to hook up to the jack. And everything fits together nicely, snugly. Same thing with this guy. They stack up nicely when they're in this phase. Ta-da! All right, next I am going to stain the necks and put in the tuners. All right, I am approaching the finish line. Now I'm just going to solder up the piezo. So I already tinned these leads. And last but not least is the butterfly hinge. I got 3 hinges, and each one of these has got 3 holes for the 3 strings. So this latch is really tight on these guys. And it's really snug too because of these bracings that I've glued in here. Extra bracings on all. So I do have the piezo underneath here, just hardwired into the jack. And then of course the hinge there. All right, we built a little saddle, 3 of them actually. So string it up. First up is number 219. Next is number 122. Strings on, tuned up, intonated. And finally, number 221. All right, that was a lot of fun. So we are going to smile for a family portrait. You guys ready? All right. Cheese!